Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest Winnie the Pooh film interpretation called Christopher Robin. In this film, you guys, what makes it different from pretty much all the other Winnie the Pooh films that have come out in the past is this one's about Christopher Robin as an adult. It's about him moving on from the Hundred Acre Wood, starting a family of his own, starting a career of his own. Um, Winnie the Pooh and friends are still around. Tigger's still around, Piglet's still around. All of them are still around, but they're definitely living in the Hundred Acre Wood all by themselves now. Um, they, they try to have their own adventures without Christopher Robin and things like that. So, like I said, Christopher Robin, he started a family, he started a career. He's living in London. He's a war veteran. There's so much history with him now that was not explored in the Winnie the Pooh books. But things start to kind of crumble for Christopher Robin when his career at a luggage company isn't going well for him. They have to lay off a bunch of employees. He knows that a lot of them were involved with the war like he was. So he's really not happy about this. He really um, is trying to find happiness in his life again. He has to work overtime. He has to work weekends. He has to not be able to spend as much time with his family as he wants to. So this really upsets him. And so through a series of events, him and Winnie the Pooh get reconnected again. Just like Christopher Robin himself, Winnie the Pooh has aged. The fuzz on the because they're Winnie the Pooh characters are more plush toys, like living plush toys in this version. They seem a little bit more toy-like than in previous interpretations of Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh himself is a little more dirty on the fuzz. It's kind of aged a little bit. So he's not an old man. He's not like an old bear or anything, but um, the character has aged. So I think they were trying to show that along with Christopher Robin's, all his friends have aged too. They go back to the Hundred Acre Wood. Um, Christopher Robin is trying to, have fun and excitement and happiness in his life again. So the Pooh Bear and friends are trying to show him that. They're trying to show kind of things that he should still be valuing that he had as a child that he doesn't have anymore. So they're trying to reincorporate that into his life again. They're trying to be a part of both his daughter's and his wife's life, trying to bring happiness into their life now too. But it's one of those stories too where Christopher Robin does have to be realistic with himself. There's things going on with his job that he still can't ignore, that he can't push to the side altogether. So he has to decide what exactly he's going to keep from Winnie the Pooh, what exactly made him great from the beginning as a child that didn't carry over to his adulthood the way he was hoping, and how can he do that without completely abandoning the life that he established for himself. And this is all covered over the course of Christopher Robin. Overall, guys, I enjoyed this movie. I didn't love it. I wasn't completely madly in love with this movie, but I enjoyed this movie. I liked it for what it was. There's things about it that obviously I didn't care for as much. I wasn't disappointed in the movie, but at the same time, I wasn't. There's really nothing about the film that's make me gonna, put it on my top 10 best of the year list or anything like that. But I did enjoy this film quite a bit. So let's go over some of those positives and negatives I had about this movie. And also, this film was directed by Mark Forrester, who did a film I really like called Stranger Than Fiction. So that was another reason why I kind of wanted to see this movie, but also kind of why I was a little disappointed because I know he was so good with Stranger Than Fiction. Another film he made that I really enjoyed was Monsters Ball. Also, another film I really enjoyed. So there was a lot of things going into this movie I was hoping for that also I didn't quite get in return either. But for my positives and negatives of Christopher Robin, um, this film is very much connected to the movie Hook, with Peter Pan becoming an adult, leaving Neverland, and then going back to Neverland. This time it's Christopher Robin leaving Hundred Acre Wood, going to reality, and then going back to the Hundred Acre Wood as an adult. And I like that unique Hook way of continuing Winnie the Pooh. I thought that was kind of a interesting story, even if it wasn't completely taken from that. But it was a unique way to kind of continue the whole Winnie the Pooh story. We really haven't seen a story like this applied to the Winnie the Pooh franchise yet. So I like that unique approach. I thought it was a different, unique way to kind of bring Winnie the Pooh back into the general public and bring him more current and everything like that. Maybe not completely successful, but I thought it was a unique way to kind of bring this character into the modern day. I also like the scenes with Christopher Robin's daughter and with her being with Winnie the Pooh and friends and kind of better understanding her dad the way her dad was as a child and things like that. There's things that even she learns from the Winnie the Pooh characters that she even didn't even know about her own father. So I like how there's scenes where the things that Pooh and friends brought to Christopher Robin, they try to bring into his daughter too. And so not only is his daughter learning about her dad as a young man, she's also learning the things that Pooh and friends taught to him as a young boy too. So I thought that was a really unique way to kind of bring Winnie the Pooh into a future generation while also kind of covering things that they did with previous generations that people know Christopher Robin for as a young boy. And I thought that was a unique way to kind of bring that back into film too. The film maintains Winnie the Pooh's child curiosity and his sense of humor from the animated series and previous Winnie the Pooh movies that were animated. And I really liked that. It was very funny. I liked how it really made you care about Winnie the Pooh in this movie because there's so much characteristics that you remember from him from earlier interpretations, and it really made the character very enjoyable and funny at the same time. I also like how the musical score in this film was a little familiar, but also new at the same time. They do bring back some Winnie the Pooh songs and musical numbers you might remember from earlier Winnie the Pooh shows and movies, but they also make it a new score at the same time. So I thought that was a very unique way to kind of, once again, bring Winnie the Pooh back into a modern day cinema. I also thought that the scenes with Pooh and friends being in reality and being out in London and kind of learning what other places are like outside of 100 Acre Wood were also a lot of fun. They definitely were in the spirit of ways that you would imagine these characters taking in something like reality or London or being on a train somewhere. They really do have a sense of reality with these characters as far as how would these characters handle these kind of realistic places. I also like how the film really makes sure that the kids have fun with the Pooh Bear characters, while the adults are really enjoying kind of the messages that this film has about becoming an adult and maintaining an adult life and having those things that you enjoyed from your childhood brought into your adult life while also not ruining it, while also not completely abandoning those ideas, while kind of taking and leaving things that you know could work that would benefit you in your adult life while also not making sure that you're bored or humiliated or sad. Really making sure that you're pursuing your adult life, you're maintaining those things that you learned and valued as a kid, moving forward and taking it in the best you can. I really like how it does have that contrast for things that are for the kids and things that are for the adults in this movie. And then going back to kind of that adult thing I was just mentioning with my previous positive point, I also like all the adulthood messages in this film about, going into adulthood, kind of bringing things that you remember from your childhood and cherishing those. Make sure you're pursuing those things as an adult that you were going to intend to pursue them as, but also making sure that things from your childhood are being carried over into your adult life as well. For my negatives of Christopher Robin and why I wasn't madly in love with this movie, I do thought there was too many story tone changes. There's scenes where we see Christopher Robin off in the war, and it really does feel way too different from the rest of the movie. There's scenes where he falls asleep in the 100 Acre Wood, and he thinks that there's a character that's after him in the woods and stuff like that. Completely different change in tone for the rest of the movie. So I thought some of those scenes just felt a little too different from everything else. So as a result, the film has kind of a clashing vision as a result. I also didn't really care for the very little storyline that was offered in the 100 Acre Wood portions of the movie. I feel like when they go there with Christopher Robin as an adult, kind of the storyline has kind of dropped off a little bit. It feels like it's just kind of, the setting is there, but it's just kind of intended for jokes. There's really no building of the storyline or anything that helps the storyline along when he's there. But the second he's out of 100 Acre Wood, obviously the story picks up again. But I just thought whenever they were at 100 Acre Wood, I really would have liked to have seen something that would have added to the story, rather than just having a series of jokes and then going back to the storyline after those were done. I also would have preferred more Christopher Robin isms when he became an adult. There's things like, I really can't see Christopher Robin from the books and the TV show that we saw as a young man. I really can't see him joining a luggage company. I could maybe see him being like a baker or an artist or an animator somewhere, but something with a little more creativity behind it that maybe Pooh and Friends taught him to do as an adult. Maybe they did that to kind of make these lessons from Pooh more effective for him in this movie. But me personally, I really would have liked to have seen Christopher Robin pursuing a career of a baker, or pursuing a career of a musician, or pursuing a career as an artist. Um, a luggage company seems a little too far fetched. It seems like something that he would, even going into this movie, I could even see him being bored from something like that. So I don't know. There's certain things about the Christopher Robin character that I think would have fit him better if they gave him a more interesting career to work with from the get go. I also would have liked to have seen more life lessons and messages brought in this movie. When they're there, they're very effective, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of them. It kind of plays around with that message for a little bit, and then it kind of leaves it alone. So I think I would have preferred more of a life lessons message kind of Winnie the Pooh tale in this. I also feel like the story resolutions are very easy in this movie. They just really aren't very complex. They really don't take a lot to kind of get certain things resolved. There's even a situation that I can't spoil near the end of the movie where I feel like Christopher Robin gets off way too easy from the situation he faces with his job and how Winnie the Pooh kind of helped him through that situation and stuff. Felt a little too easy to me. And it feels kind of easy throughout the rest of the movie as well. So I really would have preferred some changes on that part of the movie. But overall, I'm going to give Christopher Robin an 8 out of 10. It's a very enjoyable film if you have young kids, if you're mother or father to young children. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this movie. I think you'll enjoy all the moments that make you remember Winnie the Pooh while they're learning about Winnie the Pooh. Like I said, not a great movie, not a fantastic movie. Still a good movie, though. There's still some things along the way I think could have been better in it. A moderate recommendation for me, 8 out of 10. Christopher Robin is a good film. It's just not quite a great film.